Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Okay, so what do I mean by that? What I mean is, don't stop doing good, solid selling activity that's worked in the past just because you're looking for something new and shiny and more exciting. A lot of good things have gone before, and we need to identify those things which are still relevant and do still work and use them today. There are some things which aren't relevant anymore, and we do need to throw those out. But some good, solid sales best practice we need to keep. I talk a lot about the evolution of sales. Well, I wrote about it in my book. And what we see from the different decades of selling are many good things that we can still use here and now. If we look back to the 50s, where we talked about sales process a lot, absolutely I would recommend that people have a good, solid sales structure, an overall process, and structures of calls, structures of meetings to make sure we do the right things at the right time. 60s, we talked about psychology of selling, and now we still talk about how can you adapt your style, how can you adapt what you say and do to fit with the person you're talking to. 70s, we talked about benefit selling. We've got to understand, why is somebody interested in what we're talking about? What's in it for them? Use so what tests to make sure that we're talking about things that they are going to get benefit from. The 80s, we talked a lot about closing, and there's some kind of nefarious techniques there, but ultimately sales is about advancement, and we are still always trying to do that. That's a lesson we can take from that decade. 90s talked to us all about consultative selling, asking questions really well, understanding what are the root causes, what are the impacts, what are the effects that somebody has on them, their business. If we can help them understand that, we're really starting to add value as a salesperson. And that's certainly what we learned from the noughties, where adding value, focusing on gain, thinking how we can really move the customer's business along by helping them with the outcomes they're looking for. Again, it's good, solid practice that we want to maintain, we want to keep. In the tens, I was talking about sales stature. I was talking about how you would position yourself to be the go-to person in the market. We'd probably call that personal branding now. And again, it makes sense that we want to make sure people perceive us as being the person that they want to operate with. So it's how we might use LinkedIn, how we can share information, how we can do things and get the reputation as the go-to person. In the 20s, for me, it's all about collaborative selling. Yeah, it's a little bit newer, but really it's all about being customer centric. It's focusing on them and thinking about how can we do things to help them. I think if we look to the past, there are definitely things that we can take and we can still use today. There are things we don't want to do, they don't work anymore, they're not as good. But please, do not throw the baby out with the bathwater.